Dr. J.C. Cooley. That's right.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guest will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore them or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Yeah. Dr. J.C. Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. Yeah.
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. I'm your host, Dr. James A.C. Cooley, and wow, we got another absolutely fantastic show coming your way today, and I got Dr. Michael Mantell back, and you know he always going to bring us an absolutely fantastic guest. So how you doing, Dr. Mike? How you doing?
Doing great. And I think the topic today is going to help us all move forward in some really important, healthy ways.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great topic as well. I'll tell you what I want to do is, and Michelle, I'm going to have to get you on the other side, but I got to bring Todd in because we want to lock in all the different platforms and we want to talk about this great topic. So I tell you what, grab you about 9-10 bags of popcorn and let's get ready to rock and roll. Todd, do you have your popcorn yet?
Yeah, I'm ready to follow your lead.
Okay, I tell you what, let's lock all of the different platforms in and let's do this.
Yeah. Come on.
Hello. Welcome to the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And it's Tuesday. Got Dr. Michael Mantell, 360-degree health. And we got this absolutely fantastic return guest. That's over in Colombia right now. But she's going to educate us on a lot of things. I say a little bit. It's about stress. And I'm not going to give it away because as you all been watching for a while, that Dr. Michelle get pissed off when we give her title away when she wondered, how you doing, Dr. Cooley? How you doing today?
I'm doing good, James. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. I got Dr. Mike back on today, so you know I'm happy. You know, so hey, Michelle, first of all, can you I want to get this started. Can you introduce the title of the show, purpose of the show, and introduce this absolutely fantastic returning guest?
Oh, most definitely. So it is 360-degree Health Day, and the title of today's show is Coping with Burnout. And we're welcoming back Dr. Diana Londoño. She's a board-certified urologist, Reiki Master, Pranic Healing student, and author. And she's going to talk about dealing with everyday burnout, promoting wellness through mindful self-caring strategies, and creating boundaries. So again, she's a board-certified urologist and one of the 10% of urologists in the United States who's a woman, and the 0.5% that are Latinx and a woman. She's originally from Mexico City, and she received all her education in the Los Angeles area, going to Claremont McKenna College for her undergraduate studies and attending UCLA for her medical school training. Dr. Londoño has experienced burnout twice, which led her to use her experience to write and speak about it to raise awareness and help others. She has published articles in outlets such as Medscape, Doximicity, Kevin MD's, Men's Health, Giddy.com, MedMic.com, and many others. She's also a contributor author to the books Thriving After Burnout and Medic SOS. Her burnout journey led her to become a certified life coach and founder of physiciancoachsupport.com. We're going to let her tell you all about it and discuss this topic of coping with burnout. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Diana Londoño.
Wow. Hey, welcome back, Doctor.
That's a nice intro.
How's that for a greeting, Dr.
Thank you so much. I love it. I think it's much better than last time. I remember this was a little more I really, I love the applause and just a beautiful introduction by Dr. Cooley. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here today.
You know, Dr. Mike have been talking to me. You know, Dr. Mike to me, he's a genius, and he knows the right people at the right time to bring on the show to help us understand that you're not alone, and that it takes all of us to work together to understand that we all experience burnout in some way, form, or other. And so I am totally thankful for Dr. Mike again today, and I am so happy to have you back on the show. So right now, I'm just going to turn it over to Dr. Michael Mantell. You got it, sir.
Great. What an honor. What an honor to have you on, Dr. Londoño, all the way from Colombia. You are in Colombia now. And I want to make sure that our listeners...
and we are just...
You are just, your fingers are crossed that we have good...
Cooperate.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. So let's start by, I want to know, Dr. Cooley, Michelle Cooley mentioned that you've experienced your own burnout, and you've been very open about your own experiences with burnout. What was the turning point in your life that made you realize that something had to change?
Yeah, it was really my husband saying, like, you're really acting like Debbie Downer. You are, very negative, and you say you don't want to be like people that are negative, but that's exactly how you're acting with it. It can be a telltale sign of, negativity, but it could also be apathy. It could be anger. It could be sort of this fight or flight. And it can manifest in many, many ways. But when my husband really said that, after I rolled my eyes for a second, I really had to think about, what he was saying, and then really make a decision. Like, do I want to continue this sort of attitude and behavior that I really wasn't aware of? Or do I want to do something different? And so I decided to do something different and to understand, first of all, what was happening, and then learn about it, and then really just try to get out of it. Because it is really a conscious decision to be in a place of calm, of peace, of joy, and is more default to be in a stressful state, because it's sort of like we get bombarded all the time by media, by social media, by the news, by our friends, by sort of the collective energy, especially in difficult or challenging times like we're seeing right now for many people. We feel this collective energy, and it may not even be ours, but we pick it up. And especially if we are very sensitive or empathic people, we sort of tend to carry other people's energy a lot more.
we think in terms of three key symptoms, if you will, of burnout. One is exhaustion. You mentioned that. Cynicism, people becoming pessimistic or detached from their work, believing negative outcomes are expression of their personal ineffectiveness. And then, of course, this ineffectiveness, the inability to do your work. And if you're a physician, in particular, that really takes its toll, and it can be dangerous. How can physicians and other professionals realistically integrate self-care into a demanding time schedule?
Yeah, that's really important because, as you say, the impact is so huge. When we are in burnout as physicians, but really anybody, the rate of mistakes, it is so much higher. So we're going to make mistakes in the care, and that really matters. We're all patients. So it is important to talk about boundaries. When we say yes to everything and we don't put boundaries on our time, on our things that we want to do or not do, we are going to end up depleted, as you say. We're going to be exhausted, depleted, angry, resentful. These are not good things when you walk into a room as a physician. You don't want them to be resentful and angry and yelling at you. So how do we do that? Well, we first have to start with boundaries. So we got to learn that skill, learn to say no to something or many things so we can say yes to ourselves, to time for us, to decompress, to have a stress relief, to do things that really light us up and can recharge us and refuel us.
Wow. You mentioned something about burnout and charge. I mean, Dr. Mike talks all the time about physician burnout. When the work that you guys do, I mean, it's very stressful. When you find yourself in that situation as a physician, what's the first thing you do? And because patients are going to be coming to you for solutions, and you burned out yourself. So, what would you recommend physicians that are listening to this that they do? We got about a minute and a half before the break.
Yeah, it really has to be about going back to basics. And basics may mean sleeping, having one good night of sleep to recharge, to feel more refreshed, to not feel so depleted because we're not sleeping. It's about, what are we eating? What are we drinking or not drinking? It really is basic, but we neglect it so much and we think that's normal that when we're feeling like that, we really got to go back to those basics. Let's get some rest. Let's get some good food. Let's just decompress, turn off social media or, basic things to get us back to a restart and a reset.
So physicians do burn out, right, Dr. Mike?
For sure. All kinds of health professionals burn out.
And I tell you what, we're going to take a station break right now, but I am so excited. And I hope whichever platform that you're watching us on, whether you're watching us on E36 Television, Transfer TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Rumble, or over 68 other platforms, welcome to the show. If you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do is just pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. And I tell you, come and join in on this conversation because it's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
It's the show. It's your life. Dr. James J.C. Cooley.
A Black Man's Point of View is the newest Amazon.com #1 release and bestseller book from author Dr. James J.C. Cooley, featuring the perspective from 11 other contributing authors. In A Black Man's Point of View, Dr. James Cooley unpacks his thoughts and personal experiences about the challenges, stereotypes, and feelings of self-worth that many black men face today due to a 400-year ancestry rooted in slavery and colonization. Yet, how so many black men move forward despite this history. Most importantly, A Black Man's Point of View conveys that all men, regardless of race, creed, or color, are capable of love, respect, and dignity. Described as a map to a greater life from the heart of a man who's experienced life's misfortune and harsh conditions, James shows us how beliefs, convictions, and a healthy mentality can help propel a life worth living. A must-read for all. Order your copy of A Black Man's Point of View by author Dr. James J.C. Cooley today from Amazon.com or wherever books are sold.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on The Answer. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on The Answer.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right. It's your life. With Dr. James J.C. Cooley. Yes. That's right.
Hello. Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. And I tell you, every Tuesday, 360-degree health. Dr. Michael Mantell. I mean, he done did it again. I know I have been feeling burnt out a little bit recently. Myself had so much stuff on my mind, and I needed this conversation. I needed to have these two great doctors to sit back and talk about these things, because I know that many of you are feeling burnt out as well. And so we got Dr. Londoño back on again. Dr. Mike, you already know. He's going to make you feel good. I mean, regardless, if you're down, he's just going to tell you, hey, come on now, get up, get off the floor. Let's get back to it. That's what I want to do with this show. I want to get back to it. And I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Mike. But I tell you, if you want to be part of the conversation, again, whichever platform that you're watching us on, let's go to the comments. Ask any questions that you might have, or pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170 AM 1170 answer, and California FM 96.1 the answer in California, AM 660 the answer in Dallas. Back to you, Dr. Mike.
All right, thank you, James. So, Dr. Londoño, it's many people in high stress professions, whether it's medicine or law or whatever it may be, don't recognize the early symptoms of when they have burnout. You describe it in one of your posts on LinkedIn, which are always phenomenal. I tell everyone, go look at it, as cilantro stuck in our teeth. What are some of the early warning signs that someone might be on the path to burnout that they ought to be taking a look at and be aware of?
Yeah, it really is. Just to define it, burnout is just chronic unmanaged stress. And so our nervous system is going to go basically into like a fight or flight. So we're either going to be sort of fighting or fleeing. So if we're sort of fighting, we may be angry, reactive, really our empathy scale is going to be very small. We're not going to have that compassion, that curiosity, that's going to be out the window. And we're going to be very defensive and just really literally fighting with spouse or people on social media or in posts. I mean, if you pay attention to maybe comments that you put in social media, are they kind, uplifting, or they're always angry? So are you fighting all the time? So these could be sort of signs, but you could also sort of kind of start stepping back and feeling, apathy or cynicism and hopelessness, or just really helplessness, where you just really don't feel like there's going to be a solution to things. You look at doom and gloom of everything. So if you start sort of listening to how you're speaking to family members, to friends, to coworkers, sort of pay attention to the words that you're saying. That may give you a clue, but many times, as you said, it may be the cilantro teeth that somebody has to point out, a coworker, a loved one that sort of says, "Hey, like, have you noticed, how you're acting, how everything you're saying is so negative?" So paying attention to that, and what can also happen is we can then start spiraling down, or it could be associated with a lot of anxiety and depression and suicidal ideation, and it's real, and especially for physicians, this really is something really, really critical that can happen with more than 400 per year, dying by suicide. So, this really matters, and it doesn't matter the profession you're in, because stress is relative. What we perceive as something stressful in one person is very different from the other. So how we perceive it is really the crux of it. So just understanding our perception really matters, and understanding that we have to then do something every day to sort of counterbalance that fight or flight. And what can we do to sort of rest and digest and be calm? It's really an active thing we must do every day.
One of the things that I hear frequently in clients who have burnout is that they have rigid, inflexible thinking. I must be perfect. I shouldn't take time off. I don't have time to take care of myself. And when you unpack that thinking, they begin to realize, wow, look how hard I'm being on myself. And they start to then think it's the system's fault. How much of burnout is due to the system in medicine, the medical industrial complex, the way things are set up today, and how much of it is the way we tend to look at ourselves in the system?
Yeah, it really is both. I don't think it's just the system, and we also have to understand we are the system as physicians or nurses or anybody in medicine. We are the system, and the behaviors we model, we are just all part of it. So if we are not saying no, if we're not putting boundaries, if we're not speaking up, then the system is not going to change because it can really benefit from the way that it is, from the status quo. So I do think it is really both. And to say that it's just a system, it really is a victim mindset, which is a big and difficult pill to swallow. But it's true. We have to take ownership of what is my responsibility in all this. What do I have control over? We may not be able to change a lot of things, but we can change how we're acting. What are we doing or not doing? How are we responding to the situation? So that we have control over. And, when I was in burnout, as Michelle, alluded earlier, the second time, I didn't change jobs. I didn't change marriages or kids. I have the same sort of situation, circumstance, but I really changed what I put my attention to. I changed my attitude, and it really changed every day. Instead of reading like the Facebook news feed that is inflammatory and fear-inducing, what do I spend my time doing instead of doing that? So what are I putting my attention to? Doing a time audit. We say we don't have enough time, but really we have plenty of time. And what are we putting that time into to do things that are not going to be stress inducing or fear inducing or trying to separate or divide us? So we have to pay attention to those things. I think that's very important.
So specifically, what do you suggest that people can do, or what did you do to protect your well-being while staying engaged in your work in a system that is broken, let's face it, and yet still have compassion for yourself and for patients?
Yeah. When you are in burnout, like I said, there's no compassion, there's no empathy. You are angry, reactive, or just kind of checked out. So I really had to every day find time to sort of quiet down, whether we call it journaling or meditation or prayer or writing things that, nobody has to ever read, but just to really process those emotions. And I really had to find that quiet time to really reset my nervous system and then show up in a different way. And then also start my day and end my day with gratitude. Without gratitude, your life looks very different. And with it, it also looks very different. So gratitude changes our nervous system, our hormones that are secreted that can really put you not in that state of fight or flight, but in the rest, digest, calm, curiosity. So understanding that these are easy, free, powerful things we can do every day can change how we show up every day.
Do you think that medical training itself contributes to a culture of overwork and self-neglect?
Absolutely. It is celebrated. It is expected that we have no needs in the medical training culture. We should not eat, we should not sleep, pee, or any of that. And that's sort of celebrated when we act that way. And that's very, very detrimental. And sleep is so essential, but we think it's sort of optional. So when we have this culture, and you're trying to step back, we get a lot of resistance, but we can all change it. We can all start being that change we want to see, like Andy said, and slowly try to change it to a more compassionate system.
And do so in a way where we're not criticizing ourselves, putting ourselves down, thinking something's wrong with me because I need time out. If I was really strong, I wouldn't need time out. Completely irrational and a setup for burnout.
Hold that thought, because I think we need to come back and talk about that. We got to take a station break right now, but I think we need to talk about the setup for burnout. So, Mike, that was great. I tell you, I see the numbers, and I know a lot of you guys burnt out. Why don't you pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170? Ask these two great doctors any question that you might have. I promise you, we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
With Dr. James Cooley.
Ain't that one party, y'all?
James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James Cooley.
I've seen a smile convey I love you. I'm proud of who you are, and one that keeps us close when we're apart. Talking from the darkness of all that we've been through, it seems that there might be a way to leave behind the loneliness we've known and live again life of
It is your life. It's your life, and I tell you what, we have a great time right here. And these, I wouldn't call Dr. Mike a guest because he's the co-host of today's show, and always on 360 Health. But Dr. LaDonna, wow, you have been terrific, and I know we got a lot more discussion coming forward. I know Michelle got a couple of questions that she's going to ask shortly, but this is so sensational, I think. But before we even start this, before we even go here, I know Michelle took Todd off for a second, but Todd, I want your thoughts, man. I want your thoughts. What you think so far?
Great show. I see why you have Dr. Londoño back on. I'm taking notes, and like you said, I'm eating lots of popcorn. Let's get right back to it.
Let's get right back to it. So I tell you what, if you want to be part of this conversation, come on, just pick up the phone and call Todd in studio, 1-888-344-1170. I think Michelle got a question. So Michelle, it's on you.
Dr. LaDonna, before the show became live, I had a question about children. Do young children, young adults suffer from burnout as well?
Well, children are going to experience stress, and chronic stress can definitely also occur. I do think that they may be more resilient. I'm not an expert in children, but I do feel that the things that I recommend for adults, they sort of do naturally, which is movement and laughter and socializing with their friends. It sort of comes more natural to children because they're freer than adults who sometimes can be a little more inhibited about what people are thinking about them or not. And again, this can be very age specific because a teenager is very different than a 6-year-old. But we can actually learn a lot from children, and I do think that they have a lot of wisdom and they have a lot of resilience that we can really pick up on. So I think that we have to still be aware. We have to be aware of signs because they may have this sort of like apathy, or they may not be socializing as much, or they say everything's terrible. So really being curious when either a child or like an adult is sort of saying this language, get curious, start asking questions. This is a time to really get a little bit nosy and compassionately sort of start poking around instead of like pulling back and not getting engaged when you see this either again behavior or what they're saying. So it's really important just to stay engaged, whether it's a child or an adult, when we see behavior that doesn't seem like their normal self.
Thank you.
So if a physician or any professional begins to experience burnout, the symptoms of burnout that you have so clearly described, and they feel trapped, what do you suggest that's the first thing that they begin to do?
Yeah, sometimes they feel trapped or stuck. The sort of similar, feelings that you may have, and they still both get you like not moving. And I think that movement, is sort of the solution. And you can start literally just moving your body. Like, what are you doing every day for movement of your body? Because the movement of your body, the movement of the mind will follow. Because we're stuck in this loop of thoughts that, again, there's no solution, there's no way out. And this is because, again, sort of like chronic stress shuts off parts of our brain that help us find solutions, and it just keeps us in that fear state. So what can we do to get out of the fear state and then start coming up with some of these solutions? So movement of body can be a great way. So are you maybe at home, just put on music that uplifts you or that you can dance to? Can you go for a walk at your break or your lunchtime, 10, 15 minutes, just go for a walk, get some fresh air, vitamin D. So how can we get some movement into your life to get you out of that stuck place? But also remember, a coach can really get you from A to Z. If you feel stuck and you're contemplating a change of career or, even just a job, get a coach to get you from A to Z. get help from perhaps a therapist. Go get your medical checkups. Like, is there something physically perhaps going on? Like, could you be a hormone problem, a sugar problem? I mean, there's many things that physically can make us feel in a different way. So, how many of us, whether physicians or not, have not gotten your medical checkup, your routine blood work, your screen test? So, this is really important to just go back to basics and get help from a physician, from a coach, from a therapist, from a spiritual leader, from a best friend, just to sort of voice what you're feeling and really get that support.
We talk about this being top down, bottom up, the institution and the individual. We don't want to blame, we don't want to point fingers, and really it's a matter of both. But what changes would you like to see at an institutional level to help support people recognizing it's okay to ask for help?
Yeah, we really have to dismantle the stigma that we can never ask for help, that is a sign of weakness, that there's something wrong with you. You know, when we're in burnout and we're in chronic stress and we're feeling all these things we spoke about, I mean, this is actually a normal response to like an abnormal environment. So sort of like we're the canary in the coal mine, like we are showing signs and symptoms that something is wrong. So we have to really change the stigma that it's okay, make it accessible, make it something that we talk about a lot more often freely in conferences, in everyday life. Like, how do we incorporate sort of maybe moments or times to really refuel ourselves, to really honor our feelings or our exhaustion? Like, how can we incorporate different things in the workday to really honor that, and not just something that we check off or something that is sort of like mandated, but is not something that we ask the people that experience it, like, what would be helpful for you? Because something that may be helpful for a certain specialist may not be helpful for somebody else, or even a gender, or even the sex. Like, is it helpful for a certain physician to start a little bit later in the day, so they can like take their kids to school or pick them up? How can we work with people and be flexible in the work environment to really help alleviate some of the stressors we may be feeling, and really acknowledge people as unique and at the personal level?
Well, you mentioned something a second ago that just caught my attention. You mentioned about a coach or coaches or whatever. Especially guys, but sometimes we feel like we know it all. We don't want to reach out and get help, but we find it ourselves deteriorating because no man or woman is an island, and we all need help. And a coach coaching you, Dr. Mike Mantell, I mean, it's needed. But what would you tell the stubborn folks out there, kind of like me, but I'm kind of coming on board now, that sometimes it's okay to get a coach and share what you're feeling, to get feedback back where it's going to, first of all, help put you from a mental, physical, and emotional perspective back in order, where you don't always know it all and you need help. How would you talk about that?
Yeah, you're never going to regret asking for help. I mean, you really are not. And, it's sort of, I hope that people don't wait for like when they are completely broken down and they are in the darkest moment to really reach out for help. And, just having gone through myself, asked for help, and whether it was a physician that I needed help and help just went for a checkup, or it was a coach or a therapist or whatever it was, done it myself, like I said, I've never regretted taking that step, because that is so important that, we can't do it by ourselves. And when we are just stuck in this loop, then we just can't break that loop. And a coach can be very, very good at sort of poking holes at these thought loops that we have that are just not really true, but we keep believing that they are. And so a coach can say, is that really true? Can we look things at a different light, a different way? And just that small shift of, perception can really make a huge difference on like how you then act, because how we think about things will make us feel something. And then that feeling is going to make us do or not do something. So sometimes by just changing the thought a little bit, how we're viewing the situation, it can have a huge difference in the outcome. So, you know, if you do ever feel regret, please call me, because I don't think I'm going to get that call. I have not seen where I've encouraged people or I've seen them do it where they said, oh, that was the worst decision to get help. They really got a lot of benefit. And if you're not going to do it, who will? I mean, you really have to stop suffering and know that there's a better way on the other side just by asking help. And it's a gift for the other person to help you. You know, so when you help somebody, we get so much benefit from helping them. So give that gift to somebody else to really help you, and it's going to come back and pay forward as well.
Hey, Dr. Mike, I'm curious about your thought about the question. And we got about
I think, yeah, I mean, I start as a cognitive behavioral coach or therapist when I was doing that. I start by looking at what people are telling themselves. And Diana, you mentioned that we have to question our own thinking. We live by rules that we make up. Like, I shouldn't admit, I should be stronger. I shouldn't have to have help. I shouldn't need time out. That means I'm weak. And this global self-rating. I just got finished in a session with an attorney, and I said to the attorney, just because you need a little bit of time off, does that mean you are weak? No. Just because I failed math doesn't mean I'm a failure. I'm not a goof for acting goofily. So that we have to help people question their own thinking and these rules that we set down to allow them to even recognize, yeah, sure, I know it'll be good if I get help, but I can't admit that I need help. So getting to that thought first is oftentimes the place where we have to begin. And if we can help people understand that they are more than their own thoughts, I think we can help people more easily deal with the institutional difficulties that are placed upon them.
In many cases, just like we always say, it's just stubbornness, I believe, where, you know, some people rather suffer than to reach out and talk to professionals like you are. We got about a minute and a half before the break. Dr. Mike, what would you tell the stubborn person? I know I asked Dr. a second ago. How would you encourage them to reach out for help?
Well, I probably wouldn't tell them, but I might ask them, if you don't change, what do you think is going to happen? And if you do change, what do you think might happen? If for you to change, what has to change in the way you think? And I would ask questions like that to help them begin to hear their own thinking that may be leading them astray, and have them go like, yeah, you know, I never thought about it that way, but maybe I am talking myself into a tough spot. And then help them come up with something better. What else might you think to help you move forward?
This is such a great conversation. I hate to take the break, but I know if I don't talk, it's going to beat me up. We're going to have to take a station break, but I tell you, this discussion is so wonderful. It ain't too late to be part of this discussion. Pick up the phone. Dial 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. Yes, your life. And we'll be back with these two great doctors shortly after the break.
Your life. Come on.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guest will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego. A Black Man's Point of View is the newest Amazon.com #1 release and bestseller book from author Dr. James J.C. Cooley, featuring the perspective from 11 other contributing authors. In A Black Man's Point of View, Dr. James Cooley unpacks his thoughts and personal experiences about the challenges, stereotypes, and feelings of self-worth that many black men face today due to a 400-year ancestry rooted in slavery and colonization. Yet, how so many black men move forward despite this history. Most importantly, A Black Man's Point of View conveys that all men, regardless of race, creed, or color, are capable of love, respect, and dignity. Described as a map to a greater life from the heart of a man who's experienced life's misfortune and harsh conditions, James shows us how beliefs, convictions, and a healthy mentality can help propel a life worth living. A must-read for all. Order your copy of A Black Man's Point of View by author Dr. James J.C. Cooley today from Amazon.com or wherever books are sold.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Listen up, it's Dr. James J.C. Cooley. Yeah. It's the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Hey.
Oh,
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you what, 306-degree health, Dr. Mike. Wow, man, you keep knocking it out the park with these guests. you keep, and you know what, hey, Dr. Mike, I think it's a must that we have her back on again. I mean, if
3 times
if first permits, you know,
we have so many topics to talk about with Dr. Londoño. This is just one. So absolutely.
Wow. You know, I tell you what, we got so much we want to cover. I want to turn it right back over to you.
Great. Okay. So we have one segment left, but I just want to talk a little bit about some ways, some practical tips that you can offer for preventing burnout and achieving this mental balance. What thoughts do you have about that?
yeah, I love prevention because whether we're talking about the medical system or your health, physical health or spiritual or any way, prevention is so key and sometimes underrated, but we have to prevent. Yes, when we're in it, we want to get out, but like, what do we have to do? Again, this is active, not passive, to really maintain wellness. So again, as we talked about, chronic stress leads to burnout. Chronic stress is a fight or flight system. How do we get to the other nervous system, which is the rest and digest? So again, movement is a great way to really get to that rest and digest. So any type of movement, we call it exercise, that's fine, but just again, moving at home, going for a walk, dancing, again, any exercise you enjoy, that is going to be helpful to get rid of that stress energy. Another thing you can do is consciously breathe. It really will calm your nervous system. And so if you take 2 minutes a day to start your day with some conscious breathing, where you can breathe consciously, alternate your nostrils, and that's how you breathe. Just maybe close your eyes and breathe for 2 minutes. That can just really help to reset the nervous system. So breathing consciously can be very helpful. Writing, journaling, having a time where it's quiet, maybe in the morning or night or in between a break, where you can reflect on things, things that made you upset, things that you're curious about, thinking about, trying to process. Writing can have a lot of power in not holding on to emotions that can be challenging, but like really releasing them. So writing can be a great way. Also, again, prayer, meditation, time to really just quiet down the mind that is just jumping, and so many thoughts that are just going in a loop. And how can we calm the mind that is, you know, just jumping all over the place? So that can be very helpful. And again, going back to the basics, like how well are you sleeping? Are you not sleeping? Are you foregoing your sleep? And then you start feeling, more depressed or more hopeless or agitated, angry because you haven't really slept. So prioritizing those things is very important. And also, what are you eating or not eating? Are you just eating tons of sugar and unhealthy foods, or are you nourishing your body with things that can help you just feel better? So, sleep, nutrition, water intake, what are you drinking or not drinking? Things that are toxic to your system, alcohol, smoking, all these things, are they helping you or are they hurting you? And you don't have to be a physician to know it's going to be hurting you or helping. These are things that we all know can be bad for our health. So, these basic things, even though they seem so simple, can make a huge difference on how you feel, in your body. So I would start there. And again, going back to gratitude, it can be very, very helpful to have a practice where you write down in a journal or maybe in your phone, you put somewhere, what am I grateful for today? Because when you start thinking about that, your focus, your attention and gratitude, things start like looking a lot better. You start looking around and seeing many things that you're grateful for. If you spend your time looking at all the things that bring up fear or the news, then everything seems like scary. So, what are you putting your attention to that can calm your nervous system? These are really important practices that you can do in your basically free and easily accessible.
Dr. Daniel, those are incredible. That's an incredible list. That is amazing. It sounds like you chat GPT'd a whole beautiful list, better than even chat GPT, because it comes from your personal experience. And I love that. It comes from your heart. The difficulty, of course, is that there's a physician who's listening now who's saying, yeah, I know, but I'm exhausted. I don't feel, I'm ineffective. I'm cynical. I'm just so burnt out. I can't do those things. What do we say to that person?
I would say, is that really true? Is that really true? You can't one day just go to bed earlier. And then how is your outlook and your emotions going to feel differently after just one day of sleeping? And again, the question that you said as well, like, what is the cost of you not doing something differently in your life? What is going to be the cost of like staying the same, of just being in this, I can't do this apathy, this cynicism? Like, what does it cost to you and your family? And if you're a physician, to all the patients that you really give an oath to serve and to take care of, because you cannot take care of people effectively and lovingly, when you're angry, when you're apathetic, when you're just like so tired of seeing another patient, every day, or when you're in the parking lot and you feel that dread in your body and you don't want to get out of the car, those are signs that something has to change. So what does it cost? Like, are you going to just completely crash and burn, or do you want to take a chance to get at that help and reach out and do something differently earlier?
When we began the show, you talked about the fact that your husband commented, "Is everything okay?" Many years ago, I was a chief psychologist of the San Diego Police Department. And in the midst of plane crashes and shootings and all these traumas, one day I got the idea to bring the cops together and invite their spouses. And I said, how are you folks all doing? And I want you to write down separately. Well, the spouses certainly added a great deal. Well, he's not doing well or she's not doing well. And that opened up the discussion. So I think it's important to understand that people have families, friends that can be a tremendous source of information, just like it was for you.
Wow. You guys
Absolutely. It's so important to incorporate that.
we talk about change, right? That you have to change something in order to have a different result. And just like what Dr. Mike said, your husband mentioned to you about something, you like, well, you said What stuck out to me, you said once you bucked your eyes, I didn't forget that. You thought about it. But, I believe that change has two definitions. And the definition of change, in my opinion, is current behavior plus vision, meaning that when your husband mentioned that, you locked in, and you got like, okay, well, you might have some vision. So I'm going to have to sit back and think about this. Current behavior plus vision equals change. The other formula for change is current behavior plus intolerable pain equals change. I mean, so where I'm going is that we have to change something. Otherwise, we can change with the brain, or we can change with pain. Regardless what it is, we're going to change. So I see we only got about a minute left in the show. Doc, LaDonna, can you tell our viewers and listeners how can they get in touch with you? How can they enlist your services?
Well, thank you so much, first of all, for this conversation. And they can definitely find me on social media, LinkedIn. I'm usually there. Or you can go to my website, which is my name, Diana Londoño, MD, medicaldoctor.com. Those are the best places. And again, so grateful for this conversation, so timely for so many people that are suffering. Again, is the pain going to be the thing that changes? Or what's going to be the catalyst? But hopefully we all do something differently today before we get to the pain.
Hey, Dr. Mike, real quickly, please tell them how they can get in touch with you. They need to.
Find me on LinkedIn, on Facebook. Every day I put my 5 points to ponder. And just a word about Dr. Londoño's website. It is phenomenal. Anybody wants information, great videos, information, go to that website. She's terrific.
So I want to thank both of you guys, and I'm inviting you guys back. Doctor, you already here. I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another fantastic show. I'd like to thank my studios in California and Dallas, my producer, Todd. I'd like to thank the people that are sitting here and watching this. And I'll tell you what, always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. It's your life. We'll see you then.
Your life. Your life.